Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Soul Warrior podcast. So today, let's just talk about what on earth is happening in the world. I mean, there are a lot many things that are happening in the world. It's not just your everyday regular life that you go about, but there are other things like in the alternative world, alternative psychology, spirituality, that in the world of consciousness, the stuff that the uh, the people who have been practicing all of this are coming up with the new approach. That's also the way of the new age thinkers. But there is this, somewhere down the line, retrospectively looking at the world. I mean, I'm not going to talk about something that is just a mere spirituality today. But first of all, as in this podcast, the series of videos that I am making, the content for you. One is the Secrets of the Psychic Vampires Exposed, is the 2 to 3 part series that I have already posted, and it will continue in the future as well, because I do not want to give you too much of the content so that you get overloaded. That's not my goal. I want to keep the content low, but the quality of it has to be higher. It's not the quantity that I'll be putting out there. It's only going to be the quality, so that you know what you need to know to survive in this mad, bad, insane world. So, now for today's sake, what is it that I'm going to talk about is the New World Order. Now, this was back at a time around 7-8 years back. I suppose it was the end of 2011 that I came across this term, New World Order. And I then started researching on that. Is there anybody else who is doing any research on that? Because of my own awakening process, that the world government is not something that we understand. That just on the surface level politics, all of that hullabaloo, everyday shit about on the policy making, the laws that they pass, the UCC, Uniform Commercial Codes, the corporate laws, and the banking that they want to give you. But what is the psychology behind that? Who and what is controlling all of that? What is it that the public is going to get out of it? Why is there something even known as a government that exists? Who were the people who created it? Who were the think tanks behind even to have the think tanks behind the Romans, the first form of government that we understand. So it leads us to the hidden controllers that we talk about. So the New World Order is the term which has been used by quite a number of U.S. presidents. If you see, Ronald Reagan has used this term in his speech in the United Nations, I suppose. I don't exactly remember it, but the George Bush, the senior H.W. Bush, he has used the term, the New World Order, to further the agenda of the New World Order. The junior Bush, he also used it, that we want to further the agenda of the New World Order. All of these people were Masons. Understand that the Bush dynasty, they are all the members of the secret society Skull and Bones. I mean, most of the U.S. presidents must have been, but these two motherfuckers that they have been, and you can see what they have done in the world. Great work by starting Iraq war, the tribulation in Afghanistan. I mean, the Middle Eastern conflict. These people have been central to it. But do you even know that the Middle Eastern conflict is something that is not new? I mean, the Albert Pike, if you know, the author of the Morals and Dogma, the father of the American Freemasonry, he was the brains behind the all of the Islamic conflict. That he was the sort of like who laid the blueprint for all of the Islamic wars that the Western world has fought, because they wanted to set up these nations in the left and right way, in the Christian way, and just merely to give them on the surface level the Islam, their religion, because these nations were not setting up their society in the Western way. That's for what these the perpetrators of the New World Order want, which is why they go about to break these nations so that they can set them up in their way. So that's the main agenda of the New World Order agents is. So and who gets benefited by it? The corporations. The corporations, they are the capitalizers. C for capital, C for corporation. And that's something that people need to think about. And this is for what the New World Order is. And one of the very important facts is that there's this show by the name of Sid Roth. It's supernatural. I was just watching that show in which they were talking about the New World Order, and one of the persons who he had on the show, his voice was morphed, his face was not shown, it was just a radio telephonic conversation. The person was able to get himself into the Agenda 21 meeting somewhere down the line, and he exposed that one thing that they hate is that they hate Christians. The perpetrators of the New World Order, they hate Christians because Christians, the Christian people are very resilient types of people. They are a hindrance for them to further their agenda of the New World Order, because this very psychology of theirs should give you some sort of shivers. And it must give you some sort of the bang on your head, the alarm bell, to think for yourself. Just look around you, what's happening in the world. But that's how it is. I mean, you people need to think about it. That we live in a crazy, crazy, crazy world. Isn't that so?
Showing in your face bear the signs of a cold embrace. Do you stop when someone else around you is falling? Faith is in our way. They wore you out and cut you down. Everything just seems to